Okay, this is middle of January 2016. Got my United Kingdom council tax letter here. It says this week we owe £14.18. I paid it all off in September, but they've decided that we owe extra money in the middle of December. That is 4 weeks ago. They said that we were due a refund of about 30 quid, 29 quid or something. Then at the end of December they decided we had to pay 20 odd pounds, and now we've got to pay £14. To take this to its logical conclusion, this is because they get access to the HMRC Inland Revenue Tax data, and that is the result. That's the third letter in 3 weeks, well maybe 4 weeks. No, it came a week ago. It's the third letter in 3 weeks. And they keep revising it. To take it to its logical conclusion, they're changing their mind every other day or whatever as to what the council tax bill is. That's what we call not knowing. If you've got such a level of information coming in that you don't know what the council tax is, that's not knowing. If you're changing your mind all the time, that's uncertainty. I don't know why they're changing their mind all the time. They haven't explained it. It just says there's a different level of discount. This is now down to local councils instead of central government. There used to be a standard formula really from central government. Now this word formula is really important. The thing to do to confound the council tax department and to put them on the spot, instead of you being made out to be a bad debtor and all of that, simply ask them for the working out. Okay? Now the precise way that you work out a formula really matters. Never mind them saying it's on the computer system and you can go online and you can tap into their system online and it'll give you an answer. That's what we call secret. That's not transparent. That's in secret. That's a black box, as they call it in science circles. It's a secret thing that happens. You feed in some information, you get an answer out, and nobody's any idea what goes on in the middle. So that's doing things in secret. Now the interesting thing is the person who calls you up from the council tax department or who you deal with won't know a damn thing about how it's actually calculated. They will sound as though they do, but when you actually say to them, what are the variables and what are the actual numbers you've put in my case, because that's where it comes down to in their computer programs, that's when it gets sticky for them because they've actually no idea. Okay, so I'll give you an example of what I mean. I'm going to use a very simple example and then you'll see why it matters exactly how things are worked out and why you ask for the formula. Let's say you've got to buy something in the shop, it's £10. So I'm going to put £10 down. Okay, the price is £10. And let's say the shop says, we'll give you a discount, because that's what council tax reductions are about, it's a discount. We'll give you a discount at £10. Now, that £10 price in our country has to have 20% VAT added. Now I work out a very easy way. If I'm patronising you, I apologise. If you don't know, then listen on, because this is how I was taught to do stuff like this. You do it the easy way. If I want to know what 20% of £10 is, I can take 10% and then just double it. Because 10% of anything, you just move the decimal point. So instead of £10.0, I make that £1.0, a quid. Okay? So that's 10%. So what's 20%? Well, it's twice 10, so it's twice a quid, so it's £2. So £10 plus £2 equals £12. So the actual full price of this thing, whatever is an umbrella or maybe that's expensive, but a meat pie, the biggest meat pie in the world, is 12 quid. Let's say they say there's a £5 discount. Now they don't do it this way for lots of reasons, but let's say they said there was a £5 discount, which they could. Are they going to take that off the £10, then add the VAT on, or are they going to take off the full price? Let's take the easy way first. Let's say they take the £5 off the full price. That means that the item altogether costs you £7. Okay, so that's the Dumbo way to work out. If they just say we give you £5 discount, we take £5 off, minus 5, you end up with £7 that you pay if that's the full retail price by adding the basic price and the tax together, yeah? Okay. So let's say you say, well, no. I want the £5 off your basic price. Maybe that's the way they decide to do it. So you then have £5 off the £10 basic price. That means their basic price turns into £5. Then they add the tax on top. Okay. So what's the tax on top? Well, like I said, take 1% and you just move the decimal place over. So instead of being £5.00, it turns into £0.5, which is 50 pence. Or in America it'd be 50 cents from a dollar, right? So that's 10%, but we need 20% because that's our VAT. So 20% of £5 is twice 50 pence, which is a quid. So that's £1 of tax. Okay? So that turns into just £6. So if they're going to give us a discount, we'd rather that they took it off the basic amount before tax, rather than they take off the full price. If they take off the full price, the thing ends up costing us £7. If they take it off before they add VAT on, it only costs us £6. So if you wondered whether formulas matter, I've just shown you exactly the same thing. The same item got £5 off, but just whether they take the money off before taxes are added to that one simple box of chocolates or whatever it was, it really makes a massive difference. So what's the formula? What's the formula for council tax? This happens to be Kirklees Council. But what's the formula for council tax? Well, it's roughly going to be something like, they'll start with some number, like the total number, let's say, big number. Right, it's going to be the big number. So that's the full council tax. Then it'll take your circumstances into account, which will involve a complicated thing. Which will be a calculation, a complicated calculation, right? And that will affect what this big number gets reduced to. That complicated calculation will be all your circumstances that they are willing to take into account. So they might take monies going out. I don't think they do. It's only monies coming in, I think. So anyway, the point is there's a formula for each and every, I'll just put in something else, X. There's a formula for each and every component of their formula, right? So their big formula has lots of little bits to it. And those bits I've put in brackets have their own little formula. That big number they've worked out by your council tax band and how much your house was worth and whatever they did, right? So what you want are all the formulas that do that. So they'll give you something that's got X's and Y's and Z's in it. This is what I'm looking for. And then I'll feed my own numbers in it. The numbers to do with me. Because I know what those numbers will be. Now they are going to tell you they can't do that. Because they're going to tell you that it's a council tax system that works it out. And they just feed it into a computer. And this comes back to what I said at the beginning. That is what we call calculating council tax in secret. They're going to tell you they cannot give you the formula to work out your council tax. Can you imagine going to buy something at the shop with VAT to be added, local purchase tax if you're in Sweden or America or whatever? Can you imagine going there to the shop and they say, yeah, well of course we've got to add VAT onto that price. And you say, oh yeah, how much is that? And they say, well, we feed it into our computer and it comes out with an answer. And then whatever the answer is, that's what you've got to pay. You say, hang on. I'm going to pay £10 for the item and then VAT. Just tell me what the VAT... No. We've got to feed it into a computer and we get a complicated thing and then we charge you whatever the sum is at the end. So do you want it or don't you? Right? Well, you'd say, look, bugger off. I'll go somewhere where they've either got the full price or where they'll tell me what the VAT is up front. Simple as that. Council tax. Council tax. I mean, they are going to basically say they don't know. They'll try not to use the words don't know, but that is the actual answer. They actually just feed stuff into a computer and it works it out. There is no computer system in the world that you cannot reduce what it does down to a formula. And it's not going to be that complicated. But to reveal to you how it works means that everybody and their dog could check the answers. And that they can't have. Once this is blown open, once the lid is blown off this nonsense, they will never again be able to do it. But until plenty of people ask, they're not going to stop. They have no right to do it this way. you have a right to know how it's worked out. So, just go and ask. Council tax, right? Just go and ask. Ring them up and say, what's the formula? Tell me what the formula is, or send me it on an email, or send me it in a letter, and I'll be able to fit my numbers into it, to my situation, and I'll be able to calculate it manually the way that your computer does it. And there's no reason why that can't be done, except they don't want to give you it. Write to them if you have to. Okay? That's how you beat council tax. Thanks very much for watching and listening.